again. I filmed this in September, so this intro is current day, or very near to the current day. I'm in my maybe potentially sick editing outfit. Want to let you know this is literally from September. Getting a few things out of the way. If you're able to see any of the like product names, I'm not trying to like endorse them. I'm using basically what I have, and at this point currently I have almost nothing besides like eyeshadow palettes and like an eyeliner and a mascara that probably already went bad that I bought semi recently. But yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. I hope you're all doing great. I'm not sure how much people really enjoy like the tutorial style makeup videos anymore, but I figured that's kind of the way that I filmed it, and I didn't really have anything to specifically say over it as like a do makeup with me while I talk about this. Just gonna be doing my makeup, doing a little look. I think it came out pretty good considering. Well, I hope you enjoy. Let's do it. Hello, you know the deal. I've been having procrastination issues and time management issues for the past my whole life.
Oh my
We're
god.
coming to an agreement. You're not gonna believe me because I haven't been able to get my hair dyed in almost a year. That's the deal. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to poop on you. Basically, I have had this concept in my mind. I got this palette. I'm not going to like promote the fucking palette. If you would want recommendations, I could do a future video of that, but for right now, if I'm not 100% certain on the ethics of a company, I am in no way going to show them, promote them. But I did find these two colors in this palette have been really making me want to do a cotton candy clown. Cotton candy clown. And that cotton candy clown made me think of a certain Juggalo juice. I'm not a Juggalo. Their music is cool. But Faygo is basically the only company, to my knowledge, that's readily available and accessible to a lot of people throughout the country, especially in the Midwest, that is not only not pro G-slut, but to my knowledge, anti-G-slut. So that's amazing. That's actually fucking phenomenal. So I've been guzzling diet Faygos, and this is one that I've tried. It's good. I'm not super into like high sugar sodas personally. I will drink this. I'm not gonna like waste this. This is the inspo. Say thank you, inspo. This is my child. Let's get into it. Clear moisturized face, shaved eyebrows, hair up, demon horns on. I think I'm ready to become a cotton candy clown demon? Clown demon? Or clown person? Which one's scarier? I don't know. So I'm going to be using this extremely old, extremely worn out and crusty face paint. Clown white, obviously. Um, it wasn't an issue with like what the product was, because the product was fine when it was new and not all fucked up, but it's been kind of sitting improperly stored for the past like 4 years. So yeah, it wasn't doing what it needed to be doing perfectly here. Immediately had to throw it out afterwards, but it was working. It was doing white. It was giving white. You're gonna notice, and I'm obviously have noticed, lots of little sections that just were extra white, like obviously clumped up and like way whiter than the rest of the face, and those were just not budging no matter what I tried to do. Sometimes they'd get worse or they'd get worse in the way like they would just get too watery. So, and then I used a little triangle sponge thing to try to like get the little sections and make it a little bit more cohesive, but that like kind of backfired. Shit. Oh shit. So the brush marks were streaky, and then the little marks with the sponge I made were very apparent. It would like lift, and it just ended up overall being pretty cakey and annoying. I'm just doing my ears, took out my tunnels just to get it a little bit easier, not get as much makeup on them. And of course, my hair was also getting in the way. So little white pieces of my hair now. Woo. But then I used some eye primer, especially because the actual eye makeup is going to be eyeshadow, and that's a lot kind of better and more precise, and it needs a little bit more grip to like get on there. I'm starting out with that pink, I almost said flavor, color. Ooh, flavor. I mean, I can kind of taste the flavor of the color in my mind because I have the mind of a mastermind. But yeah, just blending that out with like a medium, I guess, brush that's like somewhat fluffy but also gets that color on. The like lighting is astronomically awful right now. The lighting wasn't helping the fact that it was like really lightly going on at first, and then I had to use my finger to kind of pack that on just to get the color a little bit better, as opposed to the pink being really bright just from the brush, which is fine. It's workable, it's blendable. As long as it has some way of being super bright, I'm good. Now using the face paint and another triangle sponge, I'm just kind of cutting around the corners where I kind of made it uneven and messy, and trying to blend that in to match, and not be too starkly different on the inside corner. And then starting to take that white along the lid where those two colors meet, following the same angle of the other colors. I think it really helps with the cotton candy vibe as well as the soda bottle vibe. And then I'm putting the opposing colors down underneath my eye. So the outer corner of my upper eyelid is blue, the outer corner of my under eyelid is pink, the inner corner of my under eyelid is blue, the upper inner corner is pink. I think that like kind of differential makes it kind of cooler looking. And I'm blending that out a little bit as well. Moving down my face to the cheek and mouth area, I'm starting off with the corners of my mouth. I'm doing one side the same blue and the other side the same pink. Just using basically the same two eyeshadows for the whole face. And then blending that over and under my lips as well. Starting on my cheeks. It wasn't working great. Obviously, like I said, the white foundation, the white face paint, is not a super great base, and it was kind of giving me a little bit of crap with like texture and not picking up super well. So I'm using my finger and the blending brush a little bit to do kind of like a blush slash graphic on the cheeks that would also kind of resemble a soda can. Then I'm connecting the eye makeup on each eye with the blush in basically teardrop shapes, and those are varying pink and blue as well. Adding that blue shadow to the blush as kind of a half border and blending towards the middle. With a smaller shadow brush, adding that white face paint to the center of the blush to join those colors, and adding that to the middle of the tear marks and the middle of the rin, and then bringing that up underneath my eye, on my lower eyelid. And then going back around, adding a little bit more white in those areas, not making it too perfect, wanting it kind of splotchy. And I'm putting more of that white on my nose, a little bit of the face paint, just so it's a little bit more wet and grips onto that pink for the clown nose a little bit better. Diffusing that around, but also wanting it pretty pink in the middle. Adding in a tiny bit of blue around the edges just to kind of make it have a border, make it a little bit more structured and diffused and cohesive. Now comes the fun part, adding in the little highlights around the nose area to make it really pop and look very cartoony and more 3D, make it look like it's really shiny and clown-like, and then going over the white on the blush again, as well as all the other colors, kind of trying to make it a little bit more saturated of a color, since it kind of faded quickly and wasn't really as bright as I wanted it to be. And I decided it was looking kind of bare on the forehead areas, so I added some over eye streaks, I guess you could say, that kind of would connect going down through my eye to the tear like shape. Going over the outer corners of the mouth again, the eyes, making everything a little bit more saturated in color. Starting in more with my eyes, I'm going in with a twist up black eyeliner pencil in the outer corner of the waterline, just trying to see exactly where I wanted it, if I wanted it to kind of just be there, blending it in a little bit as I go. And I added a tiny bit of that to the outer corner of my tight line, and now I'm going in with just a typical liquid eyeliner with a typical, I guess you would say, brush, and doing kind of a big cat eye, following the shape I already made with the eyeshadow. Jesus Christ, that sucks. The first go with the eyeliner is usually a little bit shitty, so just going over that and trying to make it more even, more precise, nicer looking. Moving over to the inner eye, I'm adding a little triangle slash inner cat eye look to that area with the same black eyeliner. There's no real perfect way to do this. It's basically just follow the eye shape and see what looks right and what doesn't. And then moving to the brows, I'm doing blue on this side and pink on the other side. It's a little bit daunting, especially after all this work, to start the brows, and the first round also didn't go super great, but kind of just the general idea and the general shape, getting that down, making sure it kind of makes sense with the amount of space I'm leaving in between my forehead and my eyeshadow, cleaning those up a little bit with the white face paint and Q-tip. And then the outer tail of the eyebrow just kind of disappears, so I end up just redoing that whole thing and covering that with face paint and trying to blend that in and not leave too much extra pink eyeshadow in the brow bone area that I want to keep mostly just the clown white, and then adding more of the clown white to the centers of the cheeks. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know if this is what I planned, but yeah, just kind of redoing that, making it a little bit more of what I was imagining. Jesus fuck. going over that line that connects above the eyebrows through the eye makeup and into the teardrops and cheeks as well as mouth with a Q-tip and those pink and blue eyeshadow colors, pretty concentrated, trying to get a little bit more of a vibrant color over the already existing blended parts. Blending that out a bit and adding a touch of white. Now for the highlights on the blush, just kind of a little swoop-de-doo at the apples of the cheeks and redoing the nose a little bit. Going over the top of the lip just to kind of give it a little bit of oomph, adding a little bit more of a cupid's bow, going over the extended grin. Now starting with lining the lips with the same twist up eyeliner that I used for my eyes. Fuck. Making sure to break off a little extra of that eyeliner just for fun. Barely any left. Woohoo. Going around overlining a bit. Trying to do a little bit more of like a cutesy extended cupid's bow. I like this side. I do normally line my lips with this product or a similar product, but I've been out of actual lipstick for quite a while. So, kind of struggling through that with using this. And at this point in time, I don't even have that anymore. But going over the crin marks as well, you can see I kind of cut a little bit off there. I didn't film, I guess. Trying to make those corners a little bit crisper with the face paint again, but it kind of just made like a gray, weird 5 o'clock shadow mustache type thing, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, but it wasn't what I was going for. Just kind of ended up looking a little bit too muddy, so I added like a bunch more of the product, and it didn't end up too bad. Trying to blend that in pretty well and not just leave it right in that area, but kind of mix it in with the rest of the face and next to the nose. Now I'm using the pink shadow as kind of a blush bronzer to connect my hairline with the rest of the face, just so it's not such a stark difference between the clown white and the skin underneath my hair. And adding a very tiny amount of that to kind of like my contour area, so like the hollows of my cheeks. So I did end up deciding that I wanted a darker waterline all the way through. So I started off with a little bit of blue on a Q-tip, but decided to use the twist up eyeliner pencil all the way through just to make a nice dark black stark line. And then blending that out a bit. I'm not sure if I used a little bit of black eyeshadow as well, but yeah, just blending that out with the Q-tip of my finger. Going over the white on the grin again. It's giving a little bit of like a neon glowy type thing, which is pretty cool and kind of what I wanted. Going over more of those highlights once again. Throwing in a little bit of like a liquid glitter that's silver with, it's basically just like chunks of glitter in a liquid on those cheeks underneath the eyeliner, blending that in on the inner corners a tad bit. And then throwing that on the center to connect everything, make it all cohesive. A tiny little touch on the philtrum. Now moving on to the arguably most impactful part, the eyelashes. I'm gluing the entire strip, letting that sit for a little bit, a few seconds, maybe a minute max, and then putting those on the eyelash line, starting out at the outer corner and working it in. Basically just tapping them into place, making sure I'm looking at different angles, pushing them down, smushing them against my actual lashes. I actually forgot to do mascara, which would have helped, but now I'm doing a little bit of the white face paint on the lashes to do kind of a strip on each side. Using that Q-tip to add the pink shadow to this side's lashes, and then I'm going to do blue on the other side. It took a little bit of finessing. So I went back and forth between the face paint, white eyeshadow, and then the blue and pink respectively. So the lighting isn't like crazy good right now, but this is, I mean, I don't know really specifically what I was expecting. This is kind of, I guess, kind of what I was thinking. I didn't really know what to specifically take out of like Juggalo specific makeup, so it's kind of just like clown. Obviously adjacent either way because it's clown and it's Faygo inspired. I wasn't trying to do like a full Insane Clown Posse direct copy, but let me get into something a little bit more fitting and we'll go from there. Alright, this is the finished look. I think it comes a lot. It does come a lot. I think it comes together well. I think just like with a bun and with these on, it's like it doesn't fully translate, but I think with this, I'm actually gonna make the nails a little bit pinker because they got a little muddied with the blue. Here's the look. I have a little fake cleaver. It's plastic, just like dollar store or something from years ago. I have a lot of fake props. I've been really into doing costumes and Halloween since I was born. And here, I think it's a little bit, it serves a little bit that. It gives a little bit that. Do you think it serves a little bit that? Tell me it serves a little bit that. I've been having this like idea for forever, so to actually do it is very exciting. I've had this idea for like several months. This choker I've had forever. I added some more face paint to the chest so it doesn't just go from, skin tone to this instantly. Which my skin is pretty fucking pale as it is, but it's not the pure white without redness and whatnot and undertone. But yeah, and obviously like the white isn't perfect on the chest either, but I have this skirt that I got from Skirt Halloween a couple of years ago that I've worn a lot. I don't like buying fast fashion or new clothing, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm gifted it. Sometimes that's what happens. And I try to, whether I thrift my clothing or I buy it new, I'm always trying to use it to its fullest potential and reuse the same thing. Because this skirt goes with everything. This is a family member gave me. This was a gift from a family member, and this is just I've had it for a while. I couldn't find any that I had already dug a hole into, so we added a hole into this one, and I can still use it for leggings or a top, either way. This I've had for years as well. And then just put my hair like this. I don't really have any wigs that would work with this, and honestly, I think this works well. So here's a little Cantorino. bit janky. Oh well, it's fine. It works well enough. I'll reglue it. I'll do that. I glued down that lash a little bit more, added a bit more pink on the nose. I forgot to do mascara. I figured might as well just leave the top and then just do the bottom. I usually always do mascara on the top when I do lashes, but I already did the colorful accents and the white accents, so I didn't want to mess that up, so I just did the bottom real quick, and I think it makes it blend a little bit more. Overall, I really enjoyed this process and the overall look, no matter how messy it ended up being and how messed up the process was. Definitely kind of cuter and more vibrant in pictures. But thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again very soon, and frick you! Oh my god, frick you!